If you recall from the overview of managed content settings, we discussed a scenario where you take items in your inbox, let's say faxes, and beyond a certain point, you want those faxes to be moved to a custom folder. Let's say that custom folder is called faxes. Well, if we click Manage Custom Folders, you notice that by default there's nothing in here. And that makes sense because your users by default, when they open up their Outlook, they only see the default set of folders. But if you wanted a user to see a custom folder, let's say one called faxes, or let's say old faxes, so that it's for faxes that have passed a certain period of time, we could click the new Managed Custom Folder wizard. So we're going to call this old faxes, and we can provide a storage limit for this folder and its subfolders, but we're not going to do that at this point. We can provide a comment, and we can say that we don't want users to minimize this comment in Outlook. One thing to keep in mind is that this Manage Custom Folders option is something that's only allowed for individuals that have Enterprise Client Access licenses. We discussed this in one of the earlier lessons, so if you need a refresh, you can just go back to the beginning and look up the information on the different clients that are involved. If we click New, it's completed, we say Finished, and there it is. But now, again, nothing has actually happened because this is just an old faxes folder that your users will see. That may be all that you want. You may simply want to give them a folder, and then you can give them instruction in terms of what they would do with that folder. You might tell them, place your old faxes in this folder, and then delete them when you don't need them any longer. That's placing an awful lot of trust in your users. Instead, what you might do is have those faxes automatically move to this folder, and then at some future point have them automatically deleted from this folder. Well, how would you do that? If we go back to Manage Default Folders, if we select the inbox, instead of creating an additional instance of the inbox, we can just use the standard inbox and click New Managed Content Settings. And here we'll call this one Moving Faxes. We'll select the down arrow, and we'll select faxes as the message type. And let's say after 30 days, we'll just make it 30 days from when it was delivered, so that when a fax is delivered into a person's inbox, after 30 days, what we're going to do is we're going to move it to the Managed Custom folder. If we select Browse, there's the Managed Custom folder. So now it's going to move to old faxes. And we're not going to journal it. We'll just click Next and New. So that's great. So now we have a content setting rule that pretty much will move faxes after 30 days over to the Managed Custom folder. At that point, we can click Content Settings here, and here we'll say Delete Old Faxes will be the name of this one. The message type again is faxes. And let's say 30 days later, we'll say after this item has been moved to this folder, we're going to delete it permanently. Now we could move it to the deleted items folder, we could do a bunch of other things here, but let's just say we're going to permanently delete it. In this case, before we permanently delete it, we probably should make a copy. So we have our journal mailbox here, we're going to forward a copy to it, and we could provide a label here. We could change the format to the Outlook message format, but for now we'll leave it as the MAPI message format. We'll click Next. Here's our configuration, and we click New. And then Finish. Okay, so between this lesson and the previous lesson, what we've done, we've created a couple of different content settings that sure would be great if they were actually applied to our users, but at this point they're not applied. We don't actually have them included in mailbox policies, nor do we have those mailbox policies applied to our users. All we have at this point is a new custom folder called Old Faxes. We have two default folders with instances that have content settings applied to them. And then in the case of this Managed Custom folder, we have content settings applied to it. But none of this will work unless we put it together in a mailbox policy and then apply that policy. So we're going to do that in the next lesson. We hope you found this informative, and we'll see you in the next lesson.